Pride. It was a good song. And I guess I owe it all to Pamela Brown.
Yes. Yeah, he had some great hits.
All of my good times and all my roaming around.
That's right.
Yes, I know. What else? Jerry Lewis. Now, he might have been a bit of work.
Yeah, Jerry was a character, I can tell you.
Yeah.
Look, Jerry Lewis, right, had a chip on his shoulder, a real big one, actually. And that's why he fell out with Dean Martin, because he was always playing the goofy part in the films, and Dean Martin was like, the headline star, suave, good-looking, a great singer, great actor, and,
And he made it all look so easy.
Yes, indeed.
Which is just not fair. No. Oh, my
That's
God.
right.
The Searchers, the Platters, Charlie Pride. I got to turn the page. Hang on. Oh my God, there's a full page here. Tammy Wynette, Meatloaf.
Well, yeah.
Bet you got some stories about Meatloaf.
Yeah, well, Meatloaf came and toured for us 10 years prior to that grand final AFL saga, where he completely lost his voice. Now, in all honesty, he shouldn't have done that. He was losing his voice 10 years prior to that. Okay, it was starting to get real croaky. Yeah. And every night he would do his 2-hour show, and people loved him and clapped him and standing ovations because of his past.
Oh, yes. Can't live on that forever, though.
No, that's right.
Yeah.
So he probably went a little bit too long, and, in the end, it wasn't probably fair that he finished that way. I would have rather seen him finish on a high.
Yeah, well, Caroline, was he the one your father threw out of the country?
No, that was Joe Cocker.
Oh, Joe Cocker. Joe Cocker.
He bought his drugs through, did he?
Yeah. There was a little misunderstanding, but apparently he used to send Caroline's father a Christmas card every year or something.
Well, they met years later when they were both on Parkinson together.
Oh, I see. So they were on Parkinson together and they mended the fence.
Yes.
Okay. What else? We've got Jose Feliciano, The Drifters, the Society of Seven, Roger Daltrey, Engelbert Humperdinck, who I think is coming back to Australia.
Yes, he is.
You bringing him back?
No, I'm not. A friend of mine, Brad Mellon, he's with Live Nation. They're bringing him out.
And the Village People, that must have been an interesting gig.
Yeah, the Village People were all very talented, actually. And you know what? They were one of the nicest groups to deal with. Yeah. So I have good, fond memories of them. We did a party for the Weeks family. Do you remember the Weeks? They used to own Bilo.
Oh, yes, I do remember the Weeks family.
Well, David Weeks asked me to get the Village People for him and bring them over for his wife's birthday party, 40th birthday party, if I remember correctly. Uh-huh. And he went and decked out his whole swimming area, which was undercover.
Yes.
And he put curtains up, everything, so it muffles the sound. And we put on this extraordinary show at the back of his house for 150 people, just down here on East Terrace, where he used to live.
No, I remember the Weeks family. I used to endorse Bilo, and Bilo gave way to becoming. I think Coles bought it.
He sold it for $65 million back 25 years ago. That was a lot of money.
A lot of money. And what did they do with it? Closed it down, I think.
Yeah, they did.
That's very odd.
That was terrible. Well, I think that they were huge competitors against Coles.
Yeah, and so buy the competition and close it down.
And then you don't have to deal with them again. It works when you got that sort of money and the company's that big.
Yeah, I suppose it does, but I think on the same site there's an Aldi now, so what goes around comes around.
Exactly.
You just don't know. But, when you think about all of this, I mean, I'm inclined to look at your wonderful career through rose-coloured glasses, and I think it must have been just a bed of roses. It must have been fantastic. You walk out there, do you smoke a big cigar?
No, I've only ever had a couple of cigars. A friend of mine, Frank Newell, who was a comedian, juggling comedian, he used to smoke them, and then I had a couple with him once, but I've never smoked in my life, Jeremy.
No. It's just the image of, the impresario with a big cigar. Yeah. Have you ever managed anybody at a personal level, like, the Colonel Tom Parker management of Elvis Presley, that sort of thing?
I only ever managed one show, which is an Adelaide show called the Zepp Boys. And I started with them probably. They had retired. Vince Contarino lost all interest in it, very talented person, but never got anywhere. So basically what happened was I had B.B. King here at the Adelaide Entertainment Centre when we were doing the national tour. And I rang him because I thought he was still living in Adelaide, but he was in Melbourne. I said, look, you want to do the support act with the Zepp Boys with BB? I said, it suits that type of show. And he says, yeah, I'd love to, but I'm in Melbourne. I said, well, get yourself together and come out here to Adelaide. So he did. And from there, he loved it so much again that he asked me if I could manage him. So I did. And basically I took him from a nothing, I guess, to becoming one of the biggest headline acts in Australia now. He actually even toured Europe about pre-COVID, and he did a national tour of Britain and a national tour of Europe, all with orchestras. And I started this orchestra thing myself about 35 years ago, because back then the ASO, the Western Australia Symphony, Melbourne Symphony, they always used to play their own style of music, and it became a bit tedious and they were losing patronage in a big way. So what happened, the Adelaide Symphony came to see me because they were only getting 400 people to their shows, and they were used to getting full houses, and they said, we need to do something else. Do you have any ideas? I mean, you've been around a long time, Mario. I said, well, look, you need to go a little bit more commercial now, because I said, what you've done in the past has been great, but it's not the thing anymore. So I said to the promotions manager back then, I can't remember his name, Jeremy, but I said to him, why don't you put on like an ABBA show, right, and write the charts? It's very popular music. And I said, you'll fill houses with that. And I said, there's also a band here called the Zepp Boys who do Led Zeppelin music. And I said, they would be perfect for you to do, but that loud music? We can't do that, Anyhow, I said, well, look, have a think about it. I think these style of things now can really get you back on track, and you've got to go now for a younger audience, You need to start getting audiences from 40 to 65, not 65 to 90.
I know, it's just that the older audience seems to be so loyal.
Yes.
The younger ones are fickle. They'll just come and go. What's the next big thing? Yeah. I'm bored. I'm just moving on. And by the way, are these pills safe to take?
Yeah. And basically that's how all this started with the Zepp Boys, because you asked me who I managed. Yeah. And, all of a sudden we did a show and they were a bit sceptical. So they said, do you want to do it on a percentage basis? I said, sure. So anyhow, instead of paying me $5,000, they ended up paying me $90,000 because we sold out 3 concerts, Jeremy, in the Festival Theatre. 3. And from then, all of a sudden, they started doing Queen shows, ABBA shows, all that type of show. So your gut feeling was right. Has your gut feeling ever been wrong? Oh, hell yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. When I was about 3 years into it, I was really on a roll. Everything was working. I had a show came.
Good feeling, isn't it?
Very good feeling. I had B.B. King tour, sold out everywhere.
Yeah.
I had Chubby Checker, sold out everywhere. Neil Sedaka, sold out everywhere. And I was starting to make serious money, like 50 times more than a butcher. So I thought, this is pretty easy. So, you get cocky and I flew to London and I saw a Beehive show. It was called The Fabulous Singlets. And I brought them to Australia for 6 months. And I started doing seasons with them. Instead of one-nighters that I was used to doing, I started here in Adelaide 2 weeks at the Norwood Concert Hall, 2 weeks in Perth, 2 months in Melbourne and 3 months in Sydney. And we put it on sale, and it wasn't selling. So I tried everything.
What was the problem, though? Why?
Look, the problem was I probably overestimated them, because in London they were playing in a theatre called the Strand, and they were there for 2.5 years, residency, and selling out every night. So I took that for granted it was going to work here, because originally they were from Adelaide. And
Gee, okay.
yeah, and they were big over there, TV shows, everything. So anyhow, what happened, I couldn't sell tickets.
Well, logic was on your side. It should have worked.
Well, it should have worked, but, you live and learn. Don't do seasons unless you've got Phantom of the Opera or Miss Saigon or something, So it wouldn't sell, and I started promoting it heavily now on television, where you start spending $150,000, $200,000 nationally to do this.
That's before you've even had a penny come through the box
right,
office.
That's right. So what happened, Jeremy? It just didn't work. And then to make it worse, I had all these TV shows lined up, like the Midday Show, the Don Lane Show, Hey Hey, It's Saturday. And the week that they were supposed to be on these shows, the lovely Princess Diane died, didn't she? Well, everything got cancelled. No TV station wanted to talk about anything else apart from Diana, and this was going on for a month, and the whole thing just crashed on me. The ticket sales weren't that great, but then we lost 60% from that day on. And anyhow, I had to make one of the biggest decisions of my life, and that was to cancel the whole tour. So went ahead, and basically I had lost just over $500,000. Now, if you relate that into today's money, that's probably about $4 million,
On one show?
On one show, mate. And so, I had a beautiful 5-bedroom house in Prospect.
I was going to ask you if you ever bet the house.
So I called in my lawyer from Melbourne, the entertainment lawyer that I still deal with, and I called in my accountant, and we sat down in my office and we had a meeting. And they said, the best thing for you to do here is to liquidate your company. Yeah. And I thought, damn, I owe all these people, all this money. I owed Murdoch newspapers $150,000. I owed Channel 7 $150,000. I owed a production company that toured with us with trucks and everything on the road over $150,000.
So the knock-on effects are terrible.
Big time. And or you can trade out of it, but I don't think you can trade out of this much money. So anyhow, damn, I said, you know what, I'm going to trade out of it if I can, and I can't do this to people. I don't care whether they're millionaires or whatever. I went out there and bought the product, and I asked for the advertising, and they gave me the credit. I'm not going to dud these people so that...
No, well, that's a great thing. It's great for your name and your reputation. But your next project would have to be a hit. And how would you possibly, because you're going to gamble again?
That's right, I had to. But what I had to do, what I did, I didn't have to do, I rang everybody I owed money to, Jeremy.
They should give you time.
Yes, exactly that. And I said, look, I could go broke and nobody's going to get anything. Mm-hmm. But I said, I would still like to try and trade out of this because I don't want to walk away from you guys. Can you help me by waiting? And they all said yes, which was fantastic. So basically, I was pretty ill, actually. I got depression.
Well, it would be enough to make you ill, for God's sake.
And, I thought, hell, I'm going to lose my house. Where am I going to put my kids and school and all this? Anyhow. So what happened was, Jeremy, about 6 months after I flew into Las Vegas, this time I never had the money to get any more headline acts. So I found a show called Legends in Concert. And what it was a tribute show where they used to put 5 or 6 tribute artists like Elvis, Neil Diamond, Tina Turner, all that type of thing. They were impersonating the real artists. And it was really working well in the Imperial Palace in Las Vegas. So I bought this show to Australia. I couldn't do a deal with Legends because they wanted too much money. So I went and found, my own impersonators in America, and I bought 6 of them to Australia. Well, I started off with a month doing 24 shows, and it just skyrocketed. And I had them on the Hey Hey, It's Saturday, and one of them went on the footy show, the AFL footy show, and it really, really took off. So then I extended the tour by a month, and it was selling faster again, and I extended it by another month. So this made me enough money, right, to pay back about 50% to the people that I owed the money to. And from there on, so then I went and put on a massive country music show here, starring Lee Kernaghan and Felicity and Adam Brand. They're big names now, but Lee was the headline act, and I put it on at these showgrounds, and we drew about 1,200 people. Now, that might sound like a lot, but I needed 1,600 people. So I lost another 45 grand. So I needed that like a hole in the head right then, right? So anyhow, cut the long story short, I found an act called Elvis to the Max.
Oh yes, I've seen that. Yeah.
He came to see me here in Adelaide because he was working with another promoter, and they fell out for some reason. So anyhow, a musical director that I used a lot, Russ, who played guitar for Max, said, "I'll find you a promoter." Now they came to see me. So anyhow, I wasn't really that interested in the Elvis shows, but when I saw this guy, I thought, "Have you had plastic surgery or something?" No. He says, "Well, how you look so much like Elvis." And I'm thinking to myself, you know what? I said to him, "Mate, you're a walking money machine." And he laughed. And anyhow, we struck a deal up, and I tied him up for 5 years and put him on sale. I can't tell you, Jeremy, you could bring out somebody like you too, and they wouldn't do the business that we did with that. We ended up doing from 30 shows to 95 shows. 90 of those shows sold out. And it started in the 500 capacity room, and it ended up in places like Burswood, 2,500 in Perth, Adelaide Festival Theatre, 3 concerts, 6,000 people, same in Sydney, and we just kept adding and adding. In the end, I felt so embarrassed that I actually paid him 3 times the amount of money that I was supposed to pay him because I couldn't. And anyhow, we struck up a relationship. This went on for 12 years, and it was massive for me. So then, with that, I was able to pay everybody off. Everybody.
Bless you.
And now I'm actually back in the black. So that's how things happen. Things go up, things go down. Then we bought B.B. King in again. We sold out again. Engelbert sold out, and I was lucky to get Andre Bocelli, 90,000 people around Australia. We were doing 2 shows in Sydney Entertainment Centre, 2 in Melbourne. I was lucky. I got him at the time that he released that song with Sarah Brightman.
Yes. What was that called?
The Love Something or Other. Anyhow, it'll come to me in a minute. And we got him when he was red hot, hotter than the pistol. And all we did was put a couple of ads in the paper and a bit of a 2-week radio campaign, and we sold out.
How do you know when you could have a good gut feeling about a particular act or a particular person, and then you sit down probably with his or her management? How do you know how much money to put on the table? How do you know how careful to be? What is the deal they will take as opposed to the one they want? How do you judge these things?
Well, what happened as of about 20... Previously, when I used to get Neil Sedaka, and Gene Pitney and Petula Clark, they had a flat fee. They had a flat fee, so you knew what you were buying. So what happens now, about 20 or so years ago, all these big-time artists, big headliners, they started getting accountants and lawyers to manage them. So everything changed. So basically what happens now, for argument's sake, you're talking about Kiss, Bocelli and that we did, you have to bid for them, Jeremy. So basically they email every promoter in Australia. They say, these are the dates that this particular artist is available, like let's say U2 is available, so you've got to bid.
Is that a good system?
It's a terrible system.
I think it's a terrible system too.
A lot of time...
I'm just thinking how I can make that work for me.
So that's what happens, and basically there's not a lot of money as what people think there is now in headline acts, because all you can make off them now is 10%.
And still the risk is there.
Yeah, well, let's say you've got to pay U2, for argument's sake, $1 million a show. Well, that show to put on, by the time you pay marketing, airfares, accommodation, venue hire, on-cost production, that'll come to about 1.5, 1.7 million a night before you make $1. So if you break square and make money, you take the first 10%. Then what happens from there, the artist is on 90% of the rest of the gross. So really, if the night makes you $3 million, you make $300,000, they get the rest. So, they walk away with a couple of million. Plus their merchandise can sometimes be more profitable than their gig price, because some of these can sell, up to $400,000, $500,000, $600,000 of merchandise a night.
Yeah,
like, I remember Michael Jackson. Oh my God, truckloads, Jeremy, truckloads.
You're still attracted to the business. You still think that there's a quid to be made. Who is it that you'd like to get? Now, we won't tell anyone, so no one's going to jump in and pinch.
No, that's fine. Look, I'm not interested anymore. I retired really about 6 years ago, and I came back.
You're kidding me?
I got bored after 6 months, and I said I don't want to bring any more people from overseas because of all the immigration, border security, and whatever they call themselves now. It's just too hard. A lot of them, that I had in the past had criminal records, and trying to get those people in.
They all want number one records, but the criminal record is a different thing they aspire to. It's kind of accidental along the way.
Immigration does not like, Australian immigration does not like criminal records, and it can be up to 2 days before that they decide whether they're going to let him in. So that got very sort of, it can make you very anxious,
Yes.
And I don't want to go through that stress anymore. So what I'm doing now, Jim, I'm just producing my own shows.
Yes.
I write my own shows.
Yep.
And I hire people for a flat fee, Australian people, put them on. We just did a classic country gold show. It's the first concept of this show that's ever been done in the world. I put an orchestra together with a country music show doing Patsy Cline, Tammy Wynette, John Denver and Glenn Campbell, 3 artists doing half-hour spots each.
Right.
And it was massive, absolutely massive, with a 40-piece orchestra. Country music people came, but they loved it.
Yeah.
So I'm doing stuff like that now, where I own the show, I trademark the name, and it belongs to me, and I don't have to go through all the rubbish of egos and this and that, because that's it, and that's how I put it together.
Do you ever want to, discover someone? Somebody walks through the door. It could be an Elvis Presley or a Johnny Cash or better still a Dolly Parton.
Yes.
And you see, oh my God, this could be big.
Yep. Look, back in the 60s, 70s and 80s and 90s, you could do that.
Yeah.
Okay. Today, it's a totally different market. You see, the record companies now don't want to nurture bands anymore because they've got all these reality shows like The Voice, Australia's Got Talent, America's Got Talent, and they get the winner. And they put an album together with the winner of that, and if he kicks off and they sell a lot of albums, they'll give him another album. So they don't need to go spending millions of dollars nurturing acts, hoping that they can produce them 5 albums over 5 years.
But
those days are gone.
I know they're gone, but it must really take a lot of the fun out of show business. I mean, I remember people like Jim Sutton and various other people at Festival Records back before Jim became a radio station manager at 5AD. There was that wonderful talent of what do they call those people? An A&R man.
Yes, that's right.
Artist and repertoire.
Yes.
And, you had to get the song played on the air. And first of all, you had to have a great singer and a reliable singer and somebody who wouldn't let you down. And you believed in him and you promoted him, knowing full well another record company might come and steal him.
Sure.
But the great talent and thing that would attract me to that business is the creation of something that never existed before.
That's right, yeah. Well, I've done similar things. I had a show here that was asked to go and see at the Fringe about 8 years ago.
Yeah.
And there was a young girl who lives in Adelaide called Amber Joy Poulton. And she was doing a show called Honky Tonk Angels.
Oh, yes, that's a name. Country song. Yeah.
And I said, wow, I said, she's a great singer, but the show was, 40 people in the audience at $20 didn't really interest me. But anyhow, she kept at me. And about 5 years later, I thought, you know what? I might give this a shot. Help somebody right locally. And she came up with a brilliant name after. She said, because she used to do Loretta Lynn, that was her favourite. And she said, I've got this new name, we'll call it Coal Miner's Daughter.
Ah, yes.
I said, wow, okay. Well, now, there was a film of Coal Miner's Daughter, so you can reap a few benefits if people have seen that. So anyhow, I took it on, and I won't go into a lot of detail, but what happened, recostumed it. I asked her to re-script a bit of the actual dialogue in the show, and I said, we need 2 more people because you can't be doing everybody in the show, Loretta Lynn, Patsy Cline, Shania Twain, Dolly Parton, I said, let's bring in a Conway Twitty because Loretta Lynn recorded 10 albums of Conway Twitty and they were huge.
Yes.
And we can also bring in a Patsy Cline because Patsy Cline and Loretta Lynn were best friends. So now we've taken it from a little show and we've made a bigger looking show.
Loretta Lynn had a sister, didn't she? What was the sister's name?
Oh, wouldn't have a clue.
Oh, she was also famous.
Dark hair.
Yeah. Gee, I can't remember.
No, I can't remember her name. So we put it on the road, Jeremy, and like I said, for 40 people at a Fringe show, we're now doing 5 to...
Crystal Gale.
Yeah,
Crystal Gale.
Fabulous singer.
Yeah.
So that's how it went. It went from, a little Fringe show to one of the biggest touring shows around Australia, playing like here at the Majesty's Theatre, 4 sellout concerts.
Yeah.
That's 4,000 people.
You're going to get back in this
Brisbane.
business. You're going to get back in this business. I can see it. We got to wind up. I'm getting wound up here. You got to come back too.
Oh, thank you.
Well, to the dining room table and to
Sure.
a stage near you, ladies and gentlemen. Somewhere there will be a Mario Maiolo extravaganza of one kind or another.
Yes.
Another hit show.
That would be great, Jeremy. It's always good to be interviewed by you. I can remember when I first started, you were one of the first, you and Bob Francis, that interviewed me.
No, it's wonderful to see you again. You look so well and so young.
Thank you, yes. I'm very young.
Yeah, well,
72.
well, that's right. I'm 78. It's not going to worry me, I tell you.
But we look amazing, don't we?
Well, we're not going to let the what do you call it, the age or the time weary us.
No.
No.
Age shall never weary us.
That's it, exactly.